years of what I thought was a happy marriage to Ryan, a corporate lawyer, I discovered the ultimate betrayal while planning our anniversary celebration. On his laptop, I found divorce papers marked to be filed after offshore asset search completion. He severely underestimated my business acumen and strategic thinking. Little did he know I'd built my empire by anticipating threats before they materialized. Before I continue my story, let me know where you're watching from and hit subscribe if you want more stories about women who refuse to be outsmarted. I grew up in a middle-class household in Minneapolis, the only daughter of two dedicated public school teachers. My parents couldn't afford fancy vacations or designer clothes, but they invested everything in my education. "Your mind is the one asset no one can take from you," my father would say. Those words would prove prophetic decades later. From an early age, I showed an unusual aptitude for mathematics and computer science. While other teenagers decorated their rooms with boy band posters, I was building primitive network security systems and reading about encryption algorithms. My parents didn't understand my passion, but they supported it wholeheartedly, converting our garage into a makeshift computer lab. After graduating summa cum laude from MIT with dual degrees in computer science and business, I turned down lucrative offers from Silicon Valley giants. I had identified a critical gap in the cybersecurity market that no one was addressing. With a $50,000 loan from my parents' retirement savings and working out of my tiny studio apartment, I founded Secure Nova when I was just 23. The first 3 years were brutal. I worked 18-hour days, subsisted on ramen noodles, and faced countless rejections from potential clients and investors. Male venture capitalists would listen to my pitch, then ask if they could speak to the technical lead or meet with the real founder. I was both. Their condescension only fueled my determination. My breakthrough came when a major financial institution suffered a catastrophic data breach that cost them billions. My innovative security protocol, which I had been pitching unsuccessfully for years, suddenly became the most sought-after solution in the industry. Within 18 months, Secure Nova grew from 3 employees to over 200. By my 30th birthday, my company valuation exceeded $500 million. Today, it's worth over $2 billion. I met Ryan at a charity gala 7 years after founding Secure Nova. By then, I was established in the business world, featured in Fortune and Forbes, and named among the most influential women in tech. Ryan approached me at the bar, charming and unpretentious in a sea of networking opportunists. He introduced himself as a corporate attorney, but spent the entire evening asking insightful questions about my work, seemingly genuinely interested in cybersecurity ethics rather than my net worth. "Most people at these events want to tell me about their brilliant startup ideas," I said. "I'd rather hear about yours that actually worked," he replied with a warm smile that reached his eyes. Our courtship was a whirlwind. Ryan was everything I thought I wanted: intelligent, ambitious, but not intimidated by my success, sophisticated, yet down to earth. 6 months after we met, he proposed during a private helicopter tour over New York City, the place where we'd had our first date. Looking back, I should have recognized the pattern. Ryan was drawn to grandiose displays, to things that projected wealth and status. The first years of our marriage seemed perfect. We complemented each other well. My technical mind balanced his legal expertise. His social ease helped me navigate the networking events I'd always found draining. We built a stunning modern home in the Connecticut countryside, traveled extensively, and supported each other's career endeavors. At least, that's the story I told myself. Ryan's legal practice specialized in high net worth divorce cases. He represented wealthy clients, predominantly men, in their marital dissolutions. I remember joking once about keeping our finances separate just in case, and Ryan laughing it off. "My clients should have been so smart," he said. I thought he was complimenting my business sense. Now I realize he was already thinking several moves ahead. The warning signs were subtle but present from the beginning. Ryan's fascination with my wealth manifested in small ways. He kept track of my company's stock price with unusual attention. He casually mentioned which of our assets were in my name versus his. He suggested numerous offshore investment opportunities that would have made tracing my finances more difficult. I attributed his interest to his professional background, never suspecting malicious intent. Our life together looked immaculate from the outside. We hosted dinner parties for Silicon Valley elites and Manhattan socialites in our perfectly appointed home. We donated to the right charities, attended the prestigious galas, and maintained the appearance of the ideal power couple. But behind closed doors, emotional distance grew between us. In the last year, Ryan's behavior changed more noticeably. Phone calls that abruptly ended when I entered the room. Late nights working that couldn't be verified. Weekend conferences with no promotional materials or agendas. A password suddenly appearing on his personal laptop. The classic signs that I, despite my analytical mind, rationalized away. I tried everything to save what I thought we had. Planned romantic getaways. Suggested couples therapy. Evaluated my own behavior for flaws I could correct. All while Ryan assured me everything was fine, that his emotional withdrawal was just work stress. "The Williams case is killing me," he'd say, referring to one of his high-profile divorce clients. "Once it's settled, things will go back to normal." I believed him because I wanted to believe him. So when our 10th anniversary approached, I threw myself into planning the perfect celebration, hoping it might rekindle what we had lost. That's when everything changed. Ryan had left for what he claimed was an important 3-day business trip to Chicago. With the house to myself, I decided to use our home office to organize details for our upcoming anniversary. Our shared desktop computer was already running, the screensaver swirling with photos from our life together. The irony wasn't lost on me later. I moved the mouse, and the screen awakened to Ryan's email account. He had forgotten to log out, something he never did. My first instinct was to close it immediately. We had always respected each other's privacy. But a subject line in his inbox caught my eye. Offshore asset search Jensen Holdings. My company's name. My heart rate accelerated as ethical considerations battled with growing suspicion. I had never snooped in Ryan's private correspondence before. But why would anyone be conducting an asset search on my company? I clicked. The email was from a private investigative firm based in the Cayman Islands, known for helping wealthy individuals trace and document hidden assets. The message was brief, but devastating. Progress report attached as requested. Will continue monitoring transfers from primary accounts to offshore entities. Require additional authorization for Singapore holdings. I felt physically ill as I opened the attachment. It contained a meticulous breakdown of my business holdings, including subsidiaries and investments I had deliberately kept private. Information about accounts I'd opened before our marriage. Valuation estimates for intellectual property owned by my company. even preliminary analyses of potential points of vulnerability in my corporate structure. My trembling hands clicked through more emails. There were conversations between Ryan and several of his divorce attorney colleagues, discussing precedents in cases involving high net worth wives and business asset division strategies. In one particularly painful exchange, a colleague asked, "Timeline?" And Ryan responded, "After anniversary trip. Paperwork ready to file once offshore search completes." The room seemed to tilt as I processed the information. Ryan wasn't planning a surprise anniversary gift as I'd briefly hoped. He was planning to divorce me, but only after he had comprehensively documented every cent I possessed. The deepest cut came when I discovered emails between Ryan and his assistant Rachel. I had always liked Rachel, even defended her when friends commented on her excessive texting with my husband. "They work closely together," I'd insisted. "It's professional." The emails proved otherwise. "V still suspects nothing," Ryan wrote to her. "Anniversary plans proceeding. Maldives confirmed. Private villa on the North Island. We'll tell her about us after filing, once assets are secured." Rachel's response: "Can't wait to see her face when she realizes she's funded our future together. That beachfront property in Maui is getting closer every day." I read their exchange 3 times, unable to comprehend the cold calculation. They weren't just having an affair. They were plotting to use my wealth to finance their future together. In a numb state, I clicked through more files and found the drafted divorce petition saved on the desktop. The creation date was 3 months ago. The to-be-filed date was marked for 1 week after our anniversary trip. The document included a claim to half of my company based on substantial contribution to its growth during the marriage, and despite Ryan never having played any role in my business. I sat motionless for hours, reading every email, every document, absorbing the full scope of the betrayal. The man I had loved, trusted, and supported for a decade had been methodically planning to strip me of everything I had built since long before I met him. The home office that had once felt like a shared space now seemed like an enemy command center. My initial reaction was pure, searing pain. The physical manifestation of heartbreak is real. My chest felt crushed under an unbearable weight. I sobbed until no more tears would come, curled on the floor of the bathroom where Ryan wouldn't hear me if he unexpectedly returned. Then came waves of self-recrimination. How could I have been so blind? I ran a cybersecurity company, for God's sake. I protected multinational corporations from threats, yet I had failed to protect myself from the threat sleeping beside me every night. The humiliation burned almost as badly as the betrayal. Ryan and Rachel laughing behind my back. His colleagues knowing about the planned divorce before I did. The inevitable business press coverage when the tech world discovered that the brilliant Victoria Jensen had been outwitted in her own home. After the emotional tsunami came the stillness of shock. I moved through the house like a ghost, touching photographs of our wedding day, vacation souvenirs we'd collected, books we had read together, every happy memory now poisoned with doubt. Had any of it been real? Had he ever loved me at all? Or had I been a 10-year investment strategy for him from the beginning? I didn't eat or sleep that night. By morning, something within me had fundamentally changed. The devastated woman on the bathroom floor was gone. In her place stood someone colder, sharper, more focused than I had ever been. People often said I built my business with unusual strategic foresight. Now, that same analytical mind turned toward a different problem: how to protect what was mine. Ryan had made a critical miscalculation. He thought he knew everything about my business and assets because he had access to our home, my casual conversations, my unguarded moments. But he had fundamentally underestimated both my intelligence and my capacity for self-preservation when threatened. He was about to learn a costly lesson about the woman he had married. By sunrise, grief had hardened into resolve. I picked up my phone and made a call to the one person I knew I could trust implicitly. "Marcus," I said to my childhood friend and current CFO, "we need to talk, not at the office, and tell absolutely no one." Marcus arrived at a small cafe 30 miles from our usual spots, selected specifically because Ryan would never think to look for me there. As my oldest friend and the chief financial officer of Secure Nova, Marcus was the only person who had complete knowledge of my business affairs and personal finances. I had hired him right after my company's initial success, trusting his financial brilliance and unwavering loyalty. His expression grew increasingly grim as I methodically laid out everything I had discovered. When I finished speaking, he sat in stunned silence before saying, "I never liked him, but even I didn't think he was capable of this." "I need your absolute discretion," I said. "No one at the company can know what's happening. Not yet." Marcus nodded, then surprised me with his next words. "Ryan's been making inquiries, Vic, through backdoor channels, about your Cayman and Swiss accounts." "What? When?" "3 months ago." "I thought it was strange but assumed you had authorized it. He implied you were considering a complex tax strategy and needed information." My blood ran cold. The betrayal was even more extensive than I had realized. "There's more." Marcus hesitated. "Our security team detected unusual access patterns to your company email about 2 months ago. The IP address traced back to your home network." The pieces clicked into place. "Spyware on my devices? We quietly replaced your work laptop and phone as a precaution, citing a system-wide upgrade. I didn't want to worry you without evidence." I took a deep breath, processing this new information. Ryan hadn't just been planning divorce. He had been actively spying on me, potentially accessing sensitive corporate communications. This wasn't just personal betrayal, but potentially corporate espionage. Marcus and I spent the next 4 hours in that cafe, developing what would become my counter-strategy. By mid-afternoon, we had moved to a private conference room in an attorney's office in a different city. By evening, we had assembled a small team of the most discreet professionals. Patricia Winters, the best divorce attorney in New York, who happened to be a woman Ryan had once disparaged as too aggressive. James Chen, my personal financial advisor who had structured my original business holdings, and Eliza Montgomery, a digital forensics expert from my company's advanced security division. I needed to protect my assets without appearing to react to knowledge I wasn't supposed to have. Any obvious movement of funds or corporate restructuring immediately after Ryan's business trip would alert him that I had discovered his plan. Patricia advised me on the legal framework. Connecticut is an equitable distribution state, not a community property state. That works in your favor. Assets you owned before marriage remain separate property if they haven't been commingled. The challenge will be proving which assets have maintained their separate character. "What about my company?" I asked. "Ryan's divorce filing claims he made substantial contributions to its growth." Did he ever work for Secure Nova in any capacity? Board member? Advisor? Investor? Absolutely not. I was explicit about keeping our professional lives separate. Good. Did you ever transfer company shares to him or add his name to any corporate documents? Never. Patricia nodded approvingly. That helps significantly, but we need to document the complete separation between your premarital assets and anything acquired during the marriage. James outlined the financial strategy. Your corporate structure gives us advantages. The holding company in Delaware that owns your intellectual property has remained untouched since before your marriage. The Singapore expansion you've been planning for 6 months provides legitimate business reasons for certain asset movements. We discussed every account, every property, every investment. I learned that Ryan had been particularly focused on my international holdings, likely because they seemed more vulnerable to claims. Eliza confirmed that my home devices had indeed been compromised. Sophisticated spyware, professionally installed. It's been capturing screenshots, recording keystrokes, and monitoring communication. Your home is also likely bugged. This explained Ryan's uncanny knowledge of my private business matters. I had often worked from home, discussed sensitive information over the phone in what I thought was the privacy of my own space. Can you remove it without alerting him? I asked. Not without risking his knowledge, but we can feed it selective information while you use secure channels for actual communication. This became a critical component of our strategy, allowing Ryan to continue thinking his surveillance was working while conducting my real business through newly established secure channels. Over the next 24 hours, I barely slept as we refined a comprehensive counter-strategy that would unfold over 7 days. The plan had multiple components. Legitimate business restructuring that had been in planning stages for months, accelerated through proper corporate governance channels. Completion of the Singapore expansion with appropriate asset allocation for international operations. Refinement of corporate intellectual property ownership through previously established Delaware entities. Strategic documentation to prove the separate nature of premarital assets. Digital misdirection through compromised channels while actual operations moved through secure ones. The strategy had to be executed flawlessly. While I maintained the appearance of a wife excitedly planning an anniversary celebration, completely unaware of her husband's betrayal. As dawn broke on the second day, I looked at my team of trusted advisors. Ryan thinks he's been playing chess while I've been playing checkers, I said. He's about to discover I've actually been playing three-dimensional chess all along. The devastated woman who had curled up on the bathroom floor was gone completely now. In her place stood the same strategic thinker who had built a billion-dollar business from nothing. Ryan had made the critical error of separating those two people in his mind. He believed he had married a successful woman who could be emotionally manipulated. He failed to understand that my success came precisely from my ability to channel emotion into strategic action. The next 7 days would be the most challenging test of that ability. As I drove home to maintain appearances, I felt a strange calm settle over me. The initial shock and pain had transformed into cold, focused determination. Ryan wanted a war over assets. I would give him one he was utterly unprepared to fight. Day 1 began the moment Ryan's flight took off for his business conference, which my private investigator confirmed was actually a romantic getaway with Rachel at a luxury resort in the Cayman Islands. The irony wasn't lost on me that he was conducting both his affair and his asset hunt in the same location. I initiated the first phase of our plan, the Singapore expansion that had been in preliminary discussions for months. As CEO, I called an emergency board meeting, citing a competitive threat that required immediate action. The board, trusting my business instincts that had consistently yielded remarkable results, unanimously approved accelerating the expansion plan. By noon, legitimate corporate attorneys were preparing the necessary legal structures for the Asian market entry. By evening, $75 million in corporate assets began moving through proper channels toward the new Singapore entity. From a business perspective, this was a sound strategic move. From a personal protection standpoint, it was brilliant. The assets were corporate, not personal, moving for documented business purposes that predated any knowledge of divorce plans. My home office became command central for the legitimate business operation, knowing full well that Ryan's spyware was documenting every call, every email. Meanwhile, the actual strategic planning happened on secure devices in locations that changed daily. I slept 3 hours that night, my mind racing with both strategic calculations and painful personal realizations. Day 2 focused on intellectual property protection. Secure Nova's value resided primarily in its proprietary algorithms and security protocols. James and the legal team worked with the patent attorneys to formalize and strengthen the documentation, showing that these assets belonged to the Delaware holding company established 4 years before I met Ryan. "We're not moving anything," Patricia emphasized. "We're documenting what has always been true but could be contested without proper paper trails." That afternoon, I maintained appearances by calling Ryan and enthusiastically discussing anniversary plans. Each word felt like glass in my mouth. "I can't wait to surprise you," he said, his voice warm with practiced affection. "I'm sure it will be unforgettable," I replied, thinking how true that statement would prove to be. Day 3 brought the most complex phase, properly documenting the growth trajectory of assets I had owned before marriage. James and his team worked tirelessly, tracing the organic growth of investments, the natural appreciation of properties, and the reinvestment of premarital assets into new ventures. The key is showing that the $500 million isn't just some number that appeared during the marriage, James explained. It's the natural documented evolution of assets you brought in as separate property. Meanwhile, I conducted normal business operations, approved routine transactions, and continued anniversary preparations. The cognitive dissonance was staggering. In one moment, I was selecting a sentimental gift for a husband who was betraying me. In the next, I was reviewing complex financial structures designed to protect me from that same man. The emotional toll began to show. I lost weight, developed insomnia, and caught myself staring blankly at walls. But underneath the personal trauma, my strategic mind remained laser-focused. Day 4 centered on real estate holdings. Ryan had been particularly interested in our vacation properties in Aspen, Martha's Vineyard, and Hawaii. All 3 had been purchased with my premarital funds, but had appreciated significantly during our marriage. He'll claim that appreciation occurred during the marriage and is therefore marital property, Patricia warned. Through careful financial archaeology, we documented that improvements to these properties had been paid for exclusively from accounts containing only my separate property. Any appreciation could thus be attributed to my separate investments rather than marital effort. I also discovered something disturbing. Ryan had been photographing documents in my home office safe when I wasn't there. The safe contained old financial statements and property deeds. What he didn't know was that these weren't my only copies, and more complete documentation existed in secured locations. Day 5 brought a critical phase: trust restructuring. Before our marriage, I had established several trusts for tax planning purposes. Ryan knew about their existence, but not their specific terms. Working with my original trust attorney, we reviewed the structures to ensure they remained ironclad against potential claims. The timing works in your favor, the attorney noted. These were established well before marriage with no contributions during the marriage. His claim to them is minimal at best. That evening, my private investigator reported that Ryan had extended his business trip by 2 days. Rachel had been seen shopping for beachwear and formal evening attire, suggesting they were enjoying their pre-divorce celebration in style. The knife twisted deeper, but I channeled the pain into even more determined action. Day 6 involved securing personal items of financial and sentimental value. While completely legal, this was perhaps the most emotionally difficult task. I carefully inventoried family heirlooms, documented gifts from before our marriage, and moved irreplaceable items like my grandmother's jewelry to a secure location. I wasn't hiding these things, merely protecting them from potential dispute. While doing this, I discovered love letters Ryan had written during our early relationship. Reading them now was like glimpsing an alternate universe, where his declarations of eternal devotion had been sincere. I placed them in a separate box labeled Evidence of Intent, knowing they might prove useful in demonstrating the stark contrast between his promises and his actions. Day 7, the final day before Ryan's return, was devoted to comprehensive documentation. Every transaction, every corporate decision, every asset protection measure undertaken in the previous 6 days was meticulously recorded with appropriate justifications that had nothing to do with impending divorce. My team gathered one last time in a secure location to review our work. Each measure taken was legally sound, business appropriate, and properly executed through legitimate channels. We had created no new entities solely for asset protection, moved no funds outside normal business operations, and taken no actions that couldn't be justified by sound business strategy. "If this goes to court," Patricia said with satisfaction, "every step we've taken is defensible as standard business practice or prudent management of separate property." As evening fell on the 7th day, I returned home to prepare for Ryan's arrival the next morning. The house felt different now. No longer a home, but a stage set for the final act of a marriage that had been more fiction than fact. I moved through the familiar rooms with the strange detachment of someone observing their life rather than living it. In the master bathroom, I studied my reflection. The woman looking back had changed in subtle but profound ways. The naive trust was gone from her eyes, replaced by something harder, wiser. I had protected my financial assets, but the emotional cost had been enormous. Still, I recognized that I was emerging stronger, more self-reliant than I had been before. I slept surprisingly well that night, the sleep of someone who has done everything possible to prepare for an approaching storm. When morning came, I dressed carefully in Ryan's favorite outfit, applied makeup to mask my exhaustion, and prepared to deliver the performance of my life. The pieces were in place. Now it was time to let Ryan make his move, not realizing that his game had been quietly, thoroughly, legitimately dismantled before he could play his first card. Ryan returned home on a bright Tuesday morning, suntanned and relaxed from his Cayman Islands tryst with Rachel. He embraced me with practiced affection, presenting a small gift bag containing expensive perfume, his standard offering after business. "Trips? I missed you," he lied smoothly, kissing my cheek. "I missed you too," I responded, matching his performance with my own. "How was Chicago?" "Productive but exhausting. Endless depositions." He launched into detailed fabrications about meetings that had never occurred while I nodded with feigned interest. "I've been busy with anniversary plans," I said, maintaining the facade. "I think you'll be really surprised." His eyes gleamed with what I now recognized as calculation rather than love. "Actually, I have a surprise for you too. I've booked us a second honeymoon in the Maldives." This was it, the trip mentioned in his emails, where he planned to inform me of the divorce after ensuring his asset hunt was complete. The perfect location, isolated, international, and ideal for serving divorce papers while minimizing immediate repercussions. "The Maldives! That sounds incredible," I exclaimed with manufactured excitement. "When do we leave?" "Next week. Private. Villa on the North Island. Complete seclusion." The double meaning in his words was obvious now that I knew his plan. For the next 3 days, we performed the grotesque dance of a married couple planning a romantic getaway, while one secretly prepared to destroy the other. I selected tropical outfits, discussed excursions we would never take, and researched restaurants we would never visit together. Each evening, Ryan made mysterious phone calls from his car or during neighborhood walks. My security team confirmed these were communications with his divorce attorney, finalizing preparations. On Thursday evening, Ryan announced he had dinner reservations at my favorite restaurant to pre-celebrate our anniversary. I spent hours preparing, knowing this might be the last normal evening before everything changed. As I applied lipstick, my private investigator texted, "Meeting at Hamilton and Reed Law Firm confirmed for 3 p.m. Document filing likely." Hamilton and Reed was the prestigious divorce firm representing 3 of Ryan's wealthy clients. Now they were representing him. At 5:30 p.m., just before our dinner reservation, Ryan's phone rang. He stepped onto the terrace to answer it, returning with a masterfully constructed expression of regret. "I'm so sorry, but there's an emergency with the Williams case. I need to go to the office immediately." "Tonight? Can't someone else handle it?" I asked, playing the disappointed wife. "I wish. The judge is making a special exception for a filing deadline. I'll make it up to you tomorrow night, I promise." As he rushed out, my investigator confirmed he was actually heading to the courthouse with his attorney to file the divorce petition. The paperwork that would attempt to claim half of everything I had built was being processed at that very moment. I sat alone in our silent house, the elaborate dinner outfit suddenly absurd. Despite knowing this was coming, despite a week of preparation, the finality of his actions struck me with unexpected force. This was really happening. 10 years of marriage was ending with calculated deception rather than honest conversation. The formal notification arrived the next morning via courier. I made sure the security cameras captured my shocked reaction as I accepted the envelope. Inside was the divorce petition, asserting claims to half of all assets including my company, citing his substantial contributions to its growth and success. Within hours, Ryan returned home, his demeanor now entirely transformed. Gone was the loving husband planning a romantic getaway. In his place stood a cool, professional divorce attorney managing a high-value case. "I think we should discuss this civilly," he began, settling into an armchair like he was conducting a client meeting. "I've arranged for the Maldives trip to be canceled." "Why are you doing this?" I asked, allowing genuine emotion to color my voice. The question wasn't about the divorce, but about the elaborate deception surrounding it. "These things happen," he replied dismissively. "People grow apart. The important thing now is to divide assets fairly and move forward." Fairly? The word caught in my throat. Yes, fairly. Connecticut law is clear about equitable distribution. My attorneys have prepared a preliminary asset division proposal. He slid a document across the coffee table. "You'll see we're suggesting a straightforward 50-50 split of all marital assets, including Secure Nova." I took the paper with trembling hands that weren't entirely feigned. The document outlined exactly what his emails had promised Rachel. Half of everything I had built, including substantial company equity. "I'll need time to review this with my attorney," I said softly. Ryan's confidence was palpable. "Of course, take the weekend. But Victoria, protracted legal battles only benefit the attorneys. It would be better for both of us to reach an amicable agreement quickly." What he meant was, it would be better for him to secure his payday before I could mount an effective defense. The condescension in his tone suggested he viewed me as the emotional woman who would cave rather than fight. "I understand," I replied, playing into his perception of me as the weaker negotiator. He spent the weekend alternating between patronizing explanations of divorce proceedings and cold withdrawal into work calls. I maintained the appearance of shocked devastation, which required little acting. The pain of betrayal was real, regardless of my preparedness for it. By Monday morning, something had changed. Ryan received a call that sent him rushing to his attorney's office. He returned, hours later, his face ashen. "Is everything all right?" I asked innocently. "There seems to be some confusion about the asset documentation," he said carefully. "Nothing serious, just unexpected paperwork." What he didn't say was that his legal team had begun the standard discovery process and encountered the first obstacles to his plan. The offshore investigators had submitted their reports, and the picture they painted didn't match Ryan's expectations. On Tuesday, the cracks in his confidence widened. Multiple urgent meetings with his legal team left him increasingly agitated. By Wednesday, his calls to financial analysts became heated, his tone demanding as he tried to understand the corporate structures he was encountering. "What exactly is Secure Nova Singapore?" he finally asked me directly over an awkward dinner. "Our new Asia-Pacific headquarters," I replied calmly. "The board approved it months ago. It's been in all the company newsletters." "And the intellectual property transferal to the Delaware holding company?" "That wasn't a transfer. That's where it's always been held since before we met." I took a sip of water. "Ryan, is something wrong with the discovery process?" His forced smile failed to reach his eyes. "Just standard information gathering. These corporate structures are quite complex." "They're actually fairly standard for a company of our size," I noted mildly, watching him struggle to maintain composure. By Friday, exactly 1 week after filing, Ryan's careful plan had begun to publicly unravel. His legal team requested an emergency conference with my attorneys, where they expressed concerns about asset valuation discrepancies. What they meant was, The fortune they thought they could easily claim was proving remarkably difficult to access. The first hint of panic appeared in Ryan's eyes that evening as he paced our home office, phone pressed to his ear. "What do you mean premarital? The appreciation occurred during the marriage." His voice rose as he argued with his own attorney. When the call ended, he approached me with a dramatically altered demeanor. The cold professional was gone, replaced by an attempt at the charming husband I had once loved. "Victoria, I've been thinking. Perhaps we've been hasty about all this." "Hasty? The divorce filing?" I kept my tone neutral. "Yes, these things can be filed in the heat of the moment." The desperation in his eyes belied his casual tone. "We have 10 years together. Maybe we should consider counseling before making irreversible decisions." I stared at him, amazed by the transparency of his reversal now that his asset grab was failing. "Counseling," I repeated, after serving me divorce papers without warning. "People make mistakes," he said, reaching for my hand. I withdrew it before he could touch me. "Yes," I agreed. "They certainly do." The following week brought Ryan's complete psychological unraveling as the full extent of his miscalculation became clear. His legal team's increasingly frantic communications revealed their discovery that Secure Nova's most valuable assets were effectively insulated from his claims through legitimate corporate structures established years before our marriage. "This is all perfectly legal," I overheard him shouting into his phone. "There must be a way to pierce these corporations." The attorney's response clearly displeased him as he slammed his hand against the wall in frustration. The Ryan I had known, always polished and composed, disappeared entirely. In his place stood a man coming to terms with the collapse of his carefully constructed plan. His desperation manifested in a series of increasingly transparent strategies. First came the reconciliation attempt. Over an elaborate dinner he prepared himself, Ryan launched into a rehearsed speech about forgiveness, second chances, and the stress that had temporarily clouded his judgment. He spoke of therapy, recommitment ceremonies, and building a stronger marriage from the ashes of this misunderstanding. "I made a terrible mistake," he said, eyes carefully manufactured to appear tearful. "These divorce proceedings, they're not what I really want." "What do you really want, Ryan?" I asked quietly. His hesitation was brief but telling. In that moment of calculation, I saw the truth that had always been there. This wasn't about love or even about me as a person. It was about losing access to wealth he had counted on acquiring. The reconciliation strategy failed, so he pivoted to intimidation. Late-night phone conferences with his legal team led to threats of prolonged litigation, public exposure of company secrets, and damage to my professional reputation. "You don't want this becoming a media circus," he warned over breakfast. "Tech journalists would love to dissect Secure Nova's internal finances on the front page of every business publication." I simply sipped my coffee and responded, "I've never been afraid of scrutiny, Ryan. My business can withstand it. Can your professional reputation?" The threat was not idle. As a divorce attorney who had built his practice on discretion and results, a high-profile failure in his own divorce would be devastating, especially if certain documents regarding his planned deception became public. When intimidation failed, Ryan attempted financial maneuvering. I discovered him in the home office at 3 a.m., attempting to access accounts associated with our joint properties. Security measures I had implemented prevented his success. but the intention was clear. His next move was attempting to claim that my recent business decisions constituted divorce planning and were therefore improper asset protection. His legal team filed an emergency motion claiming I had deliberately moved assets in anticipation of divorce. This strategy backfired spectacularly when my attorneys produced board meeting minutes, business plans, and international market analyses, dating back 18 months, all demonstrating that every corporate action had legitimate business purposes unrelated to our marital status. The Singapore expansion was approved unanimously by the independent board, my attorney explained to the judge. All corporate actions followed standard governance procedures, with proper documentation and legitimate business justification. The judge denied Ryan's emergency motion, dealing another blow to his rapidly disintegrating case. As legal defeats accumulated, Ryan's behavior became increasingly erratic. He alternated between rage, artificial affection, and despondent withdrawal. During one particularly volatile evening, he accused me of having planned this counterattack all along. "You knew, didn't you?" he shouted, pacing our living room like a trapped animal. "You knew and you set me up." "Knew what, Ryan?" I asked calmly. "That you were planning to divorce me? That you had investigators hunting for my assets? That you were having an affair with Rachel while plotting to take half my company?" The color drained from his face as I continued. "Or perhaps you mean, I knew that you installed spyware on my devices and bugs in our home to gather financial information?" His shock at my knowledge was genuine. "How long have you known?" he whispered. "Long enough to understand exactly who you are," I replied. The final collapse of Ryan's case came when my legal team submitted evidence of his systematic deception, including the emails with Rachel and the offshore investigators. What had begun as his offensive strategy to claim my assets transformed into a desperate defense against potential professional misconduct charges. His law partners, concerned about reputation damage to their firm, called an emergency meeting. By the following Monday, Ryan's professional standing was in freefall. 3 major clients had withdrawn their cases from him. The partners asked him to take a leave of absence. The legal community, which had once respected him as a skilled divorce attorney, now viewed him as an object lesson in hubris and failure. In a last desperate attempt, Ryan showed up at my office unannounced, causing a scene in the reception area until security was called. "You've destroyed everything I worked for," he shouted as he was escorted out. 10 years of marriage and this is how you repay my love?" The irony of his claiming love as his motivation after his calculated betrayal might have been amusing if it weren't so pathetic. Employees who witnessed the outburst were shocked, having always known Ryan as the charming, supportive husband who appeared at company functions. That evening, sitting alone in the home office where I had first discovered his betrayal, I found a strange sense of peace settling over me. The man I had loved had never really existed. The marriage I had valued had been, at least for him, a long-term investment strategy rather than an emotional commitment. The pain remained, but its quality had changed. It was no longer the acute agony of fresh betrayal, but the duller ache of accepting a difficult truth. I had built a business by seeing reality clearly and responding strategically. Now I had applied those same skills to my personal life, with equally effective results. 1 month after filing for divorce, Ryan accepted a settlement that recognized the separate nature of my premarital assets, including Secure Nova and its subsidiaries. He He received a fair portion of jointly acquired property, but nothing close to the fortune he had planned to extract. His career in tatters, his affair with Rachel exposed and subsequently ended when the financial prospects dimmed, he relocated to Chicago to attempt to rebuild his professional life. The last time I saw him was at the final settlement signing. He looked older, diminished, the confident gleam gone from his eyes. As we exited the attorney's office, he caught my arm gently. "For what it's worth," he said quietly. "There were times when it was real for me too." I studied his face, searching for truth in a man who had made deception his art form. The sad thing is, I'll never know if that's true, and that's entirely your doing. I walked away without looking back, feeling lighter with each step, shedding the weight of false love and betrayal. Ahead lay uncertainty, but also freedom and the knowledge that I had faced the worst kind of personal betrayal and emerged not just financially intact, but emotionally stronger. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I stood at the window of my new penthouse overlooking Central Park. The spring evening bathed the city in golden light, and for the first time in over a year, I felt genuinely at peace. The legal battles were behind me. Secure Nova continued to thrive, our Singapore expansion exceeding revenue projections by 30%. More importantly, I had begun the process of rebuilding my personal life from the ground up. The journey hadn't been easy. After the initial victory of protecting my assets came the harder work of emotional recovery. I found a skilled therapist who specialized in betrayal trauma, someone who didn't minimize the psychological impact of discovering a decade-long relationship had been in many ways a calculated deception. Recovery isn't linear, Dr. Levine reminded me during our weekly sessions. Some days you'll feel strong, other days the grief will hit unexpectedly. She was right. I would go weeks feeling empowered, then break down in tears when finding an old photograph or receiving a wedding invitation. The betrayal had shaken my fundamental ability to trust, not just romantic partners, but my own judgment. I built a security company, I told Dr. Levine during one particularly difficult session. My entire career is based on identifying and preventing threats. How did I miss this? Because professionally, you expect threats, she replied. Personally, you expected love. Those are fundamentally different mindsets. Gradually, I reconnected with friends I had neglected during my marriage. Ryan had subtly isolated me from my support network, another red flag I had missed. My college roommate Sophia flew in from Seattle and stayed for 2 weeks, filling my evenings with laughter I had forgotten I was capable of experiencing. My parents, now retired and living in Florida, visited monthly. Their steadfast support reminded me that genuine love without hidden agendas did exist. "We always thought he was too polished," my father admitted one evening. "But we wanted to believe he made you happy." The healing process included physical changes as well. I renovated the Connecticut house where Ryan and I had lived, donating most of the furniture and creating an entirely new space that held no memories of our life together. Eventually, I sold it to a young family and bought the Manhattan penthouse, wanting a fresh start in an environment untainted by betrayal. My focus on business had always been intense, but now it became my primary outlet for creative energy. Secure Nova launched a revolutionary security protocol that earned industry-wide acclaim. We expanded into new markets, hired brilliant young programmers, and continued building something meaningful and lasting. 3 months after the divorce, I established the Financial Literacy Foundation for Women, dedicating $20 million to helping women achieve financial independence. The foundation offered education about investment strategies, business development, and most importantly, financial self-protection within relationships. Financial control is often the invisible leash in toxic relationships, I explained during the foundation's launch event. Breaking that leash begins with knowledge. Speaking publicly about my experience was terrifying but ultimately healing. Without naming Ryan or sharing humiliating details, I incorporated elements of my story into discussions about financial autonomy. The response was overwhelming. Women approached me after each talk, sharing similar experiences or thanking me for making them more aware of potential vulnerabilities. The lessons from my failed marriage crystallized over time into hard-won wisdom. I had ignored early warning signs, rationalizing Ryan's interest in my finances as natural curiosity rather than calculation. I had believed in the image of our relationship rather than paying attention to subtle inconsistencies. I had trusted completely without verifying, something I would never have done in business. Most painfully, I realized I had sacrificed authentic connections for a polished facsimile of love. Ryan had presented himself as the perfect partner, mirroring my desires and expectations. What had been missing was the genuine messiness of real intimacy, the willingness to be flawed and authentic together. Perfect isn't real, became my personal mantra as I began cautiously dating again. I found myself drawn to different qualities now. Authenticity, emotional transparency, people whose actions consistently matched their words. Michael, a neuroscience professor I met through a mutual friend, became an unexpected source of healing. Our relationship developed slowly, based on genuine friendship before evolving into something deeper. His straightforward nature and complete lack of interest in my financial status were refreshing. For our third date, he took me stargazing on the roof of the university building, bringing homemade sandwiches and thermos of hot chocolate. "I'm not very good at grand gestures," he apologized. "I've had enough grand gestures to last a lifetime," I replied. "I prefer real." I approached this new relationship with both openness and appropriate caution, maintaining financial boundaries while allowing emotional vulnerability. The balance was delicate but healthy. The most surprising outcome of the entire ordeal was my newfound sense of freedom. Having faced my greatest fear, having my trust completely betrayed, I discovered I could survive and eventually thrive again. The experience had stripped away pretense and left me with clearer vision, both personally and professionally. Ryan's attempt to take what I had built had ultimately failed, but his betrayal had taken something irreplaceable. My naive belief in perfect love and happy endings. In its place grew something more valuable, a realistic appreciation for authentic connection, self-reliance, and the understanding that genuine strength comes not from avoiding pain, but from moving through it with integrity. News of Ryan eventually reached me through mutual acquaintances. His professional rehabilitation had been partial at best. No prestigious firm would hire him after the scandal, forcing him to establish a small private practice handling minor cases. Rachel had left him for a hedge fund manager shortly after. Our divorce was finalized. The beachfront property in Maui they had planned to purchase with my money remained a dream unrealized. I felt no satisfaction in his downfall, only a distant sadness for the waste of potential. The man had been brilliant in his field, charming when he chose to be. capable of so much more than deception. His decision to build his future on betrayal rather than authentic achievement had cost him everything he truly valued: status, recognition, and professional respect. The lesson in his fate was clear. Shortcuts to wealth built on deception eventually collapse. Sustainable success, whether in business or relationships, must be built on genuine value and integrity. Today, as I prepare to take Secure Nova public with a projected valuation of $4 billion, I reflect on the journey that brought me here. The Takusai company continues to thrive not because of shortcuts or deception, but because we built something of genuine value, solving real problems with innovative solutions. My personal life follows the same philosophy now, valuing authentic connection over perfection, transparency over polished illusion. The betrayal that once seemed like the end of my world became instead a painful but necessary awakening, teaching me to trust my instincts, verify what matters, and build security into every aspect of my life without sacrificing openness to genuine connection. For those of you watching who might be facing your own betrayals or challenges, remember that the darkest moments often contain the seeds of unforeseen growth. Trust can be rebuilt, but wisely this time. Success is sweetest when it's earned through genuine effort rather than manipulation. And sometimes, the collapse of what you thought you wanted makes space for what you truly need. Have you ever had to restart your life after betrayal? What helped you move forward? Share your stories in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please hit like and subscribe for more insights on resilience and renewal. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and remember that your worth is never determined by someone else's ability to recognize it.